What is up, everyone? Week 0 started, and there's already a huge upset with Georgia Tech beating Florida State. If you follow my Instagram, you'll know I called that. But I'm going to go over every single conference real quick, and I'm going to give you guys my college football playoff predictions. The first conference I'm going to do is the Big 12. Finishing last, I got Houston and Cincy. I just don't really think they're going to be much of a contender. Arizona State could be, but they just don't have really the talent. Teams I feel like a sleeper team I could see winning this division is Texas Tech. I have them at 6-6, but I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up going on a run and ending up winning the conference. I also wouldn't be surprised if UCF went and won it with KJ Jefferson at quarterback, and then Kansas State and Oklahoma State wouldn't be shocked if they did. Kansas has an easy schedule, so I could see them doing better than I have them at. And then Colorado, you never really know about Colorado. They could be really good, or they could do the same thing they did last year. But I feel like Utah and Arizona are the two favorites in my opinion. West Virginia, I just don't trust their defense. I feel like they got a really good offense, but when they go and face Utah, I don't think they're going to be able to get the job done. And I got them going 9-3. So I got Utah winning the Big 12. Next conference I have up, I got the ACC. This is going to be a shock to some people. Maybe, they may not be. But I don't know if I'm overhyping Miami, but them getting Ward in the transfer portal is a huge thing. Because last year they had Van Dyke at quarterback. And, they started out really good, and they ended up fumbling the ball when they ended up facing Georgia Tech last year. And if you guys do follow my Instagram, I did predict Georgia Tech upsetting Florida State because I'm not high on Florida State that much this year. DJ Ulogi, I knew coming into the season that he was not going to be anywhere near Travis was. Clemson, I have them technically winning it, but I have them losing in the ACC championship against Miami. A sleeper team in this one, I could see Syracuse potentially being a sleeper. Virginia Tech is a big sleeper. And then NC State, I feel like they're always a sleeper, but at the same time, I don't think they have the talent to do it this year. Other than that, most of the teams are kind of going to be above average, and then you got the bottom teams like Virginia, Duke, and Wake Forest. Duke might be a little bit better, but with them losing Riley Leonard, I just don't see them being much better. The third conference I'm doing is the SEC. I do see Georgia running the table and going 12-0 this season. I could see them losing to Texas and Alabama this season. Going to Tuscaloosa is going to be a tough environment, but I think Georgia will end up pulling it out with Alabama getting a new coach. So I got Georgia going 12-0, Texas 11-1. I do have Texas beating Michigan, but then they lose their game against Georgia. And then Alabama and LSU and Ole Miss all tie at 10-2. A sleeper team in this one I feel like is Tennessee. I feel like their schedule is pretty easy, and if they pull off like one or two upsets, they're going to be 12-0. So I could also see Oklahoma potentially surprising some people. I know it's their first year in the SEC, so I could see them making some noise. And then Texas A&M's recruiting talent has been off the charts recently. I'm looking forward to their game against Notre Dame, but right now I got them at 7-5. Really tough schedule, along with Florida. I feel like Florida has a really good roster, and they're better than the 6-6 record I have them at. But other than that, I got Georgia winning the SEC this year against Texas in the SEC championship. Last but not least, we have the Big Ten. I have a three-way tie for first place between Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan. I have Ohio State losing to Michigan, Michigan losing to Oregon and Texas, and then Oregon losing to Ohio State. So it's a three-way tie there. With the tiebreaker, I feel like Ohio State and Oregon are going to get the nod. So I have Ohio State versus Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, and I do have Ohio State winning the Big Ten this season. Washington, I know they were the defending champs, but I don't feel like they're going to be up there as they were last year with losing like half their starters. I know Michigan had lost the starters, but I do feel like Michigan develops a little bit better than Washington. And it was hard for me to put Minnesota at 5-7 just because I trust in PJ Fleck. I feel like he's a really good coach, and I could see Minnesota being a surprise team in the Big Ten. And then I could also see I have Michigan State at 8-4. I think Michigan State's schedule isn't really too hard this year, and I feel like they're going to lose their main games to like Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State. But I do have them beating Iowa. I feel like they could be a surprise team. And then you never know with USC with Lincoln Riley and Miller Moss over there. They could potentially end up winning the Big Ten. And then Penn State could be really good or really bad. They remind me of Michigan a little bit with Singleton and Allen back in the backfield and not being able to get the job done in the recent years. So I could see Penn State making some noise and potentially upsetting Ohio State at home, but Ohio State's favorite in the whiteout game. So, but yeah, for the Big Ten, I got Ohio State versus Oregon, and I got Ohio State winning the Big Ten this season. With that being said, here are my 12 teams for the college football playoff. I got Notre Dame going 11-1, and I have them losing to Texas A&M week 1. So that's their only loss this season. I got them going 11-1. And for the group of 5 team, I have Memphis. So your first round matchups are going to be Notre Dame versus Memphis, Texas versus Penn State, Oregon versus Michigan, and Clemson versus Alabama. I feel like if this actually did happen in real life, most of these would be great games and very entertaining. But yeah, let me get you here with my first round predictions. With the first matchup being number 5 Notre Dame versus number 12 Memphis, I do feel like Memphis will clip this coast for the first half, but overall Notre Dame's a way better team. And then Matt Leonard, I do think their offense will be a little bit better than last season. So I got Notre Dame winning the first game of the playoffs, 41-27 against Memphis. The next game is a good one. I got number 6 Texas versus number 11 Penn State. This is a James Franklin moment, in my opinion. I don't think James Franklin is going to be able to get over the hump that he has been going over, where he can't win the games that matter. And I do feel like Texas is just a better overall team than Penn State. But if Penn State could get the Allen and Singleton going and get some stops on defense, I would not be surprised if Penn State ended up pulling it out. But I'm going to go with Texas winning this one and eliminating Penn State from the playoffs. The next game up is my first upset of the playoffs. We got number 7 Oregon versus number 10 Michigan. A big reason I'm taking Michigan, I do feel like they match up really good in this game. I could see Mason Graham having a huge day against Oregon's offensive line, and I feel like Michigan just has the experience. I don't think Oregon's defense is going to be able to stop Michigan's run, especially if Orgy is able to get going. But Michigan has a lot of question marks, so I can definitely see why most people won't like this pick. But Michigan wins in a nail biter, 30-27 in their first game of the playoffs, due to experience. The last game in the first round, we have Clemson versus Alabama. Alabama took a disappointing loss to Michigan last year in the playoffs, and I feel like in this game, Alabama is going to come out firing, and I feel like they're going to destroy their longtime rival of the college football playoff era, 42-14. Clemson has a pretty soft schedule this year. I'm not really high on them, but with the schedule they had, I mean, going 11-1 isn't really too hard for them. But Alabama's going to have tough competition, as I already put LSU, Georgia, and all the other good teams. Clemson's only real game was Georgia and Miami, and they're probably going to get stomped by Georgia. So I got Alabama destroying Clemson in the round 1, 42-14. In the first game of the second round, I have number 5 Notre Dame versus number 4 Ohio State. I didn't really go into much description on why I had Ohio State number 4. So number 1 and 2 were undefeated, and then I gave Miami, Florida number 3 the edge over Ohio State just because Ohio State's had the most recent loss. But other than that, I mean, they still won the conference and got a bye week. So, but in this one, I do feel like Ohio State's going to win this one, not easily, but pretty easily. I do feel like Ohio State's offense compared to Notre Dame's offense is a landslide, and then the defenses, I feel like Ohio State's is also better. So I got Ohio State winning 33-20, and Notre Dame just cannot win a game that matters either. So I'm on Ohio State by 13 in this one. Second game up, we have number 6 Texas versus number 3 Miami, Florida. Yes, you see the score. I got 44-24 Texas. I do feel like the only way Miami has a chance in this game is if Penn State wears the crap out of Texas. But besides that, I feel like Texas is kind of going to come out and dominate the line of scrimmage in this one. So I'm going to go with Texas winning 44-24, spoiling Miami's first playoff game in a long time. The third of the last 4 games, we have number 10 Michigan versus number 2 Utah. I feel like Michigan's going to come out and get up to like a 17-7 lead in this one, and then Utah's just not going to be able to come back. I could see Utah winning this one. I mean, I'm pretty high on Utah this year, but really, for me, it's just the experience of Michigan and them making it the past 2 years that's going to carry them in this one. Because I feel like their offenses are very the same, but I feel like Michigan's defense is a bit better than Utah's. So I'm going to go with Michigan winning this one in another upset, 20-17. In the last game of the second round, we have Georgia versus Alabama, and I'm going to take Alabama winning this one, 27-23. I just feel like Alabama's going to have the momentum behind them, and with the energy after defeating Clemson, and then mean, I just think Alabama's going to take this one. Georgia, I feel like they're going to be high on their horses. They're going to think that they're the best team in the nation, obviously, because they went undefeated. But I feel like Alabama's going to come up here and upset Georgia. I mean, they've done it in the past. I wouldn't be shocked if Georgia actually ended up winning this game and actually winning the Natty, but I feel like Alabama is going to sneak them in the playoffs. So I'm going with 27-23 Alabama. With that being said, I do feel like Alabama's celebration is going to be cut short due to running into an on fire Buckeye team. I feel like this is going to be an instant classic like they normally do, besides the championship they played in like 2019 and 2020. Other than that, I feel like Ohio State is going to beat Bama due to just having a better defense. I know I got the score 45-42, but I do feel like Ohio State's defense is going to get that stop when they need it. And I feel like this is going to be a showdown between Will Howard and Jalen Morrell on the rushing part of the side. And I do expect Henderson and Judkins to play a big role in this one. But yeah, I'm going with Ohio State and Caleb Downs getting revenge on Alabama and advancing to the national championship. On the other side, we've got number 6 Texas versus number 10 Michigan. I do have Texas winning the second game as well. I do have them beating Michigan in the regular season. They're very similar teams, but I feel like Texas is going to be more dominant on the line of scrimmage. Michigan lost a lot of offensive linemen, and I know they did hit the portal and all that and get new ones, but I do feel like Texas has a better quarterback and they're better at the line of scrimmage. And I feel like you have to be better at those two things to beat a team. I do feel like Michigan's run game is going to do great. I feel like this game is going to be really close, and it could go both ways. But I'm going to roll with the Longhorns in this one, winning 27-23 and moving on to face Ohio State in the national championship. In the national championship, I have the Texas Longhorns defeating Ohio State 41-37, and a big reason I got that is kind of the same reason I got them beating Michigan. I feel like they're going to be better at the line of scrimmage, and they have the better quarterback. I do feel like Quinn Ewers is going to get his revenge on Ohio State after leaving and not being able to play at Ohio State. I would not be surprised if Ohio State won this, but I really do not trust Ryan Day fully all the way to go win a national championship right now. I'd trust Quinn Ewers in this one, and then Baxter at running back. Regardless of who wins this game, I just know it's going to be a great one, and I'm going to go with Texas Longhorns as your 2024-25 college football national championship this year. I know there's going to be a lot of disagreements on this. I know some people are going to say, well, I got Ohio State winning, I got Georgia winning, and honestly, to me, it's really a toss-up. I don't want to be that guy that just picked Georgia because they're probably the most dominant team, or picked Ohio State because I feel like they're probably the most talented team. But I wanted to go with kind of a sleeper. I mean, a lot of people are saying Texas is going to win, but a lot of people are also hating on Texas. So, but comment down below who you have winning. Comment down below who you have in your playoffs. And comment down below why you have them in the playoffs and why you think they'll win the national championship. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. My week 1 predictions are going to be out on either Thursday or Friday. I'm looking real forward to the season. And all I got to say is, Goat Show out.